Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about the Iranian Revolution, except I will do it in like a little bit different way, in a way you may not have heard about the Iranian Revolution. You see, the everybody assumes that like it just happened in 1979, that the Shah was overthrown and that Islamic extremism rose to power. Um, and actually, people don't really know how the Iranian Revolution started, where the origins of this conflict really come from. I have to say that there are a lot of origins to this conflict. You can't really specify one exactly, but the origins really start back in 1908, I would say, with the creation of oil, with the discovery of oil in then Persia. Because without oil, without the presence of oil, Iran would have not been the country that it is today. It is in the Middle East. It borders the Caspian Sea to the north. To the west of Iran is Iraq, and to the east are countries of Afghanistan, Pakistan, eventually leading on to India. And everyone obviously knows that to the west of Iraq is Syria, Israel. To the southwest is Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. Iran and Saudi Arabia both cover a good majority of the Persian Gulf. Very further on. Okay, so oil was discovered in 1908. This project was heavily influenced by uh, British, American scientists, experimentalists, people that were interested in the region, just to promote the finances and the current progressive global trade market emerging in the 20th century. So the first revolution, which had a little to great impact as um, con- a considerable impact for Iran, was in 1906 when the citizens of Persia wanted to establish a new constitution. They wanted Iran to be more democratic. They wanted Persia to, have like a labeled out constitution, and like the ruler at the time, Mohammed Ali Shah Qajar, rejected these so-called democratic proposals, and there was a revolution. You could call it a revolution. It wasn't like the one in 1979, but it was still something. A coup took place. His son basically threw his father over. His name was Ahmad Shah Qajar. What he basically did was that, in regards to oil prices, he started to negotiate trade deals with the British and with the Americans and with the Western world in general, something that his father did not really necessarily do as much as his son was planning to do. So the Anglo-Persian Oil Company was established soon after, and what basically happened in the deal was that the British government got 50% of the revenue, and Ahmad Shah country basically got the other half of the revenue. Ahmad Shah Qajar got into debt. One of the reasons why he got into debt was because eventually the USSR, the Russian Empire, and the British Empire basically took control over the Persian Empire in World War One. There was a secret agreement signed in Constantinople in 1915. This was actually quite logic if you think about it, because Russia needed more territory. They need more natural resources, more terrain, more defense. Because in World War One, the German army got deep into Russian territory as far as present-day Donbass in Belarus. So Russia needed more land to, fight the enemy. And Great Britain got southern Persia because the majority of the oil companies were located in that region, and so they were, using more and more of the resources there. and the Iranian people did not like it. There was a crisis. There was, an economical crisis in Persia. There was famine. The Persian people were not really doing well off towards in the period of 1918, 1917, that type of time. So another coup took place, and Raja Shah, the first Raja Shah, took the reins of the Persian monarchy. Basically, he established a new dynasty. So I would like to keep in mind that Raja Shah was part of the Persian Cossack Biraj. So the Kazakhs are actually Russian fighters. They are, stationed all over the Russian Empire. They help protect Tsarist interests. They're basically the secret private military of the Tsar. Um, Generally speaking, they're also an ethnic group of people which predominantly lived in Russia. So the fact, considering that he was part of the Persian Cossack Biraj, indicates that he had friendly relations with the Russian Empire, which means that he also has friendly relations with the USSR, because during that time period, during 1918, 1919, there was a civil war in Russia. So the Russian Empire became the USSR. This means that Raja Shah gave a lot of nice oil deals to the USSR. The Soviet Union started to use a lot of oil resources to lift up its like barely like feeble, weak economy. So Raja Shah II overthrew his father in a coup, and this time Great Britain and America outwardly supported Raja Shah II. They outwardly gave him financial support, political support. During this time period in 1941, an Anglo Soviet invasion of Persia took place. This was shortly after the Operation Barbarossa happened in June 2022, when the Germans invaded the Russians. And this was, a considerable fact in history that most scholars do not talk about, because how can Great Britain and the USSR invade a sovereign country to gather more of its resources to use for their war machine? Hitler would invade Persia, like he was literally planning to go through Russia, through the Caucasus, into Persia to get more oil, then like he will be the main superpower for like a very, very long time. Nobody will be able to defeat Nazi Germany because he had Russia and Persia. And those are two very fertile regions with a lot of natural resources that people can use for their, own benefit. Great Britain and the USSR said that they're not going to leave this country until 6 months after Hitler surrendered. Those were their literal words.